On go, right?
Fuck you. I'm already recording, so we're going.
Yeah,
I am as
too.
well.
It's happening.
I'm recording too. That was just, this was the
is
hidden
the intro,
interlude.
yeah.
Welcome to the
hidden
cold
intro.
open.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello and welcome into another episode of Grit, a hockey podcast. My name is Dakota. I am a guy who watches lots of hockey and enjoys it. I'm joined by professional basketball analyst Jake.
Hey, I'm happy I wore my white pants today. It was a good one, boys.
Yeah, how's the basketball going?
It's March and there's madness.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around.
My Buffs won, the team I've been a lifelong fan of, SCO Buffs.
Lifelong CU Buffs, lifelong LSU.
They beat another basketball team from a different school that I assume is a college.
I'm also joined by women's extreme snowboarding event organizer Dylan.
Okay, yes. Hello. This is me.
Yes, hello, peaking. Very cool.
I hope the women's snowboarding is of higher quality than your mic, but how's that going for you, bud?
It's going all right. Ending the season, I assume.
Yeah, spring coming on, the snow is just not there anymore. Yeah. Finally, I'm joined by Sonic the Hedgehog sponsored event horse racing enthusiast Devin.
Long time no see.
Yeah.
That's all you had?
That is a common Sonic the Hedgehog greeting.
I mean, Sonic fans don't actually exist, so I don't think anybody would have known that.
So, what do you think about the horses at these Sonic the Hedgehog sponsored events?
They go fast.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of got it right.
Yeah, I was about to say they gotta go fast, honestly. All right, well, the mention of Sonic has reduced the quality of our podcast by association, so let's move on from that shit.
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, those are totally our official titles. We are experts in each and every one of those fields. And for some reason, we do a podcast about the Colorado Avalanche.
I remember in the first episode we discussed how this was slightly Avalanche tinted, but mostly neutral and league focused more so.
Well, no, it was more about trying to explain the game to newer players. I feel
what
like
I'm saying is you failed.
Yeah, we failed.
No, you failed.
Oh.
You gotta make it personal.
Yeah.
As the host.
Come at me.
As the host. I'm going to cancel you. Like I said, Dylan is the new host.
Oh.
Let me tell you about how that's not a wise decision.
Well, thanks for tuning in to the final episode of Grit a Hockey Podcast. It's been great.
Taking the podcast with you, I see.
Fine, I'll make my own podcast with hookers and a blackjack.
I'm taking my podcast and leaving.
So you may have failed at teaching us, but you have grown some Avalanche fans. Smile.
Yeah. Most importantly, I feel like we've grown two people who fucking hate the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You mean the mild, sir?
Oh, yeah, that is correct. I get my
the mild, or if you misspell it, the mold.
Yeah.
The mild and their AHL affiliate team, the Refs.
Yeah, so last time we came at you with a frenzy of 12 games, was it?
16.
16. Fuck. Wow, that was bad.
Remember when I said you failed?
Yeah. Jesus. Okay, so that was a lot. I'm kind of impressed that we got through it all as quickly as we did. I think that was our shortest episode somehow.
Second shortest
Oh,
out
okay.
of 4, but it's
Yeah.
the second shortest.
Small sample
Well, the
size.
actual shortest one is the one you forgot to record.
Oh, fair enough. There's 0 minutes on that one. But yeah, I mean, in that last episode, now that you brought it up, we kind of discussed specifically Dylan, but I think now Devin, burgeoning hatred towards the Minnesota Wild, and really that's the only thing that matters when it comes to this project.
So today and last game, fuck the Mild.
Fuck the Mild.
Just fuck them, dude. Wow.
Did you see that time Greenway punched Nishushkin in the face today? That's fun.
Yeah.
I hate them so much.
Mm-hmm. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. We do have another game to talk about before we get into the Wild, and it really shaped some happenings as far as the Avalanche news goes. We have 3 games for you this time instead of 16. I don't know what to do with myself other than make shitty jokes about the Wild and us not liking stuff or liking stuff. I don't fucking know. Anyways, let's go.
These last 2 games were so tight. I forgot about that Ella game entirely.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, since we left you guys, the Avalanche played a home game against the Anaheim Ducks. One single game for some reason. I can only imagine that it's a COVID makeup date after that 2 weeks off that they had.
Didn't we record
we
after the
fucked them
Ducks
up.
game?
No, we didn't.
Oh.
We did not do anything after that Ducks game.
Well, you cover 16 games and you just kind of forget
Yeah.
a bunch of shit. That being said, not remembering anything of those 16 games makes covering them very quick.
Yeah. So I actually don't remember too much aside from Hunter Miska and all that in that Ducks game either.
Hunter Miska
man.
was the Kings game, wasn't it? No, it was the Ducks game. Fuck. Jeez, dude. My noggin.
Made some good jokes about Miska that night. That
Yeah.
was so funny.
A lot of people made a
Oh.
lot of good jokes, and then they took it too far.
Oh, so okay, we'll get to that later. But Devin here is our go-to meme person in the group. And you did some quality work, my friend. You put in the work, you put in the effort and the time to really give us some quality content. Like, what more can I say?
Yeah, your content was so good. Miska deleted his Twitter. It was all your fault.
shit.
Oh,
Was it really me?
As a fan base, we should not be getting together to bully our own players and deleting their Twitter.
no, definitely
We should
not.
unite for a common good to make the Wild players delete their Twitter.
No, don't do that. Actually, don't do that. What the fuck? Yeah, you're fired, dude. We're not doing that.
Damn.
So, anyways, the Colorado Avalanche played that game. They ended up winning 8-4. Basically, what happened is they came out, they scored a goal. Nasty Naz came in, put him up ahead really, really quickly in the game. I think it was within the first minute.
Yes.
The Ducks replied by scoring 2
goals on 2 shots. The
Yeah.
first 2 shots.
2 goals on 2 shots.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
That's how you knew things were gonna be very strange. If you thought it was gonna be under 6, you
Yeah.
were wrong.
Several people were like, I bet the under on this one, and I can't imagine why anybody would do that. So I was wrong. It was Andrei Burakovsky that scored that first goal, 1 minute in. And then, the Ducks just decided they were going to shoot and score because Hunter Miska, his quality of play continued into this game, kind of in the same way that it did the game before. We broke that down. He just is not ready to play in the NHL right now, and it sucks. And I think that it is fair to criticize him and criticize his play. I think it's awful that people bullied him on
Yeah, I
Twitter.
mean,
It's ridiculous. Don't do that to anybody. Like, don't be a piece
yeah,
of shit.
I feel like there's a difference between discussing the obvious downfalls of his game, because discussing that stuff is normal.
Yeah.
And making some memes about it, because that is also normal.
Yeah.
I think directing anything directly at him is far less normal.
Yeah, I made some jokes for the boys.
I mean, he's not going to look at like the subreddit on, for the Avalanche. He's not going to look in random Avalanche related discords, right? Like, even posting some shit on Twitter, I'm sure is fine. I don't think he's looking up his name being like, holy fuck. I think people are directing it straight at him, and that's the part where it crosses a line.
Yeah, or like even threatening him. And like, unfortunately, we saw some more of that today in your sport of choosing, college basketball.
Oh, did we? I mean, yes, we did. Absolutely.
Yeah, an Ohio State basketball
Famous for its
player
potatoes.
was getting threats from fans because they felt that he had lost them the game they played today or yesterday.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm well aware of the situation. My basketball knowledge is boundless. That fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's awful. We need to be better than that.
I mean, we don't. They do.
Well, we as a people, we are humans on this internet sphere.
Bold to assume the internet is not a cube, but go on.
The internet is actually more of a mesh.
I was gonna say the internet is flat, but
I like to think of the
Oh,
internet
no.
as a torus, donut shaped.
Like a Ford Taurus, or
Donut shaped.
oh, you would think of
I
donuts, man.
refuse your
Fuck.
reality and now only accept a car-shaped Earth.
The internet is a car. It's a vehicle for information. It makes perfect sense.
Oh God!
all right. So
We're on a roll today, boys.
oh
The
yeah,
boys are buzzing.
we're definitely right on track here. Yeah. So the Avs score in the first minute. A minute later, Ducks tie it up. 2 minutes after that, they're ahead on just the two shots that they took. A few minutes later, Nazem Kadri tied it up, and it looked like, okay, maybe Miska can right the ship. It's a new game. Let's see if he can collect himself and be able to, put the game away. And unfortunately, he was not up to that task. The Ducks scored 2 more goals on him, 4 goals and 7 shots. That's a horrible percentage. And
All of them were awful too.
yeah, no, they were on him for the most part, right? Like, there were some defensive breakdowns on some of those goals, but he was in a position to be able to stop it, and he just didn't.
Well, yeah. So an issue I'm having personally, opponent I'm personally picking, something that grinds my gears, is that I feel like a lot of people now are going so out of their way to defend him that they're saying that he didn't play badly.
That's just not true.
And that's been frustrating because there's been a lot of, well, if you knew anything about goaltending, you'd know he was fine. And the answer to that is actually no. No.
We talked about this the last time.
Yeah.
On the pod, he'd get ready for it, and then he would just like, what if I got out of the way?
Yeah, he would give himself every opportunity to succeed right up until the last moment, right? And that's frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
So that was all in the first period. It was kind of a wild one, and kind of an emotional roller coaster for me. Like,
oh no, that was not a wild one. It was a wild one. Today.
It was a wild
2
wing.
days ago.
That one I see.
Yeah, there we go.
They were
That's
wearing their
fine.
Wild Wings. It's fine.
Mm.
But so the Avalanche go into the first intermission. They decide that they need to make some changes, including a net. And Philip Grubauer plays the rest of the game. And from that moment on, Ducks didn't score.
You're in my net, Miska.
Groovy was like, get out of my net. And he did. and we won.
As a wise man once said, "Grooby dooby doo."
From that point on, it was just an offensive explosion from the Avalanche. They score 6 goals to make it an 8-4 game. Doesn't look very close on the score line at all. And honestly, there's lots of skill on display on pretty much every one of those goals. If you just want to pull up the highlights at home, watch those goals, they're pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, the Avs dominated that game. I think that was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
For the offense, because they hadn't scored for shit before that, really. And now they are scoring a lot. And I think against the Ducks and the Kings, maybe that's like well, they could just be shit teams. But the conversation going into tonight was that the Wild were pretty good. We can get to that later, but
yeah,
the Avs have been doing it, man. This is the hockey you expected them to play when the season started. These past 4 games.
Yeah, these last 4 games, this is the team we were expecting. I tweeted
We
it
were
out
promising
earlier.
how tight. Sorry, go for it.
Oh, no, sorry. I tweeted it out earlier. This is the team that we were expecting going into the season. It took them a while to get there, but now that it's here, it's really fun and just really dominant hockey.
Yeah, this is the team we were promising, Dylan and Devin, when all of this started. This is the actual culmination of like what we expected it to be.
Yeah, it just took them a while to
It's
get
been
there.
very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Not a lot of like muck and grind, fucking grinding it out 2-goal, 1-goal games. This is like Avs are playing the way they want to play, and that is very sick.
Having Kale and Bo back.
Yeah, we'll get
Hell
to
yeah.
that, but hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So did either of you have more thoughts on this Ducks game?
Not anything that wasn't said about Miska. I mean, that was like taking it. It feels like that's the thing that sticks out the most, and I feel kind of bad about it, but also it's just what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really much else to say. As soon as he wasn't the goalie, they didn't score, so.
One thing I will say is that after you watch hockey for a lot longer, it's been harder in this season because games have been weird. But you can tell when a team is dejected and like, a goal gets called off and then they play like shit or something.
Yeah.
Or somebody gets injured and they play badly. Like, there's a lot of swings like that. And in this game, they just never looked like that. And that really impressed me personally.
Yeah.
Even with Miska letting in 4 of the softest goals the NHL has ever seen.
I will argue that the penalty shot one, those go 50-50 either way. The guy put it in a really good spot, so maybe it's not his fault that one went in, but lots of talk about how
I'd wager it is. I felt as if it went straight the fuck through him, but it's hard. The penalty shots are difficult.
Yeah.
And if you're already having a bad night, like, you're not feeling yourself.
What are you going to do? But yeah, lots of people were arguing that Gabe doesn't make the penalty to give them the penalty shot if he thinks that Miska can save the puck. So either way,
I subscribe to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, my point is like I never really felt like they looked like super dejected. We're playing like shit. We're obviously going to lose this game because they just scored 4 goals. Like type of hockey.
Yeah.
They were just like, well, this happened. Let's go win the game, and they did, in convincing fashion. So those are my thoughts on the Ducks game. I don't know if Devin had anything.
I mean, not really. I mean, Groovy got in there, got work done, and we took it home.
Groovy got in there, got work done, put pucks on net, played a full 200-foot game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I can really say. I mean, it was an enjoyable night. Is all I can say.
In closing, quack quack motherfuckers.
The only other thing that I would add is the second line was very dominant in that game offensively.
Yeah.
They were very good. Bodes well for us in the future.
I love me some Nazem the Drem.
Okay, so moving on. Minnesota Wild began a 2-game series against the Minnesota Wild.
Oh yeah.
Did I say Minnesota Wild did that?
Yeah.
So the Colorado Avalanche
You're
began.
keeping this in, bro.
Nope.
Release the Snyder cut, dude.
The Colorado Avalanche began a 2-game series against the Minnesota Wild.
I mean, you could argue that the Wild played against themselves the whole time because they were just completely ineffective.
We live in a society.
They did. Very interesting. So yeah, the talk going into this one was that the Avalanche and the Wild were both hot, and the Avalanche and the Wild would be battling each other for, the opportunity to go against Vegas at the top of the division.
Well, and we had absurdly even stats. I don't know if you saw that picture, but it was like the same games played, same record, same goals for, same plus minus. Like it was like across the fucking stat board on NHL.com, like 80% of the stats were the literal exact same.
Yeah.
So people were like, they're the same team. They're built the same. They're of the same quality. And the Avs took that personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really did. So I mean, going into the series, it was an important one for them to try to win, or at the very least, not fall behind in, right?
Well, and we were right behind the Wild in the standings. Like,
Yeah.
if we lost either of those games, or especially both, the separation would be unbelievable.
Yeah, they would have really gotten an advantage from it.
They didn't.
They didn't.
You mean the separation and advantage that we have now, Smile?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, no, exactly. The Avalanche crushed the Wild in both of those games.
Actually played out of their minds.
Yeah, it was really insane hockey. They won 5-1 in the first game and 6-0 in the second game. Just complete dominance against a team that was thought to be comparable to the Avalanche, and the Avalanche went in there and proved no.
It was so obviously dominant that I didn't even like. There's nothing to talk about these games, dude. Like,
not
every
really.
line was rolling. Like, nothing notable happened on an injury front. I mean, I guess for the Wild it did. We can mention.
Yeah.
Sorry you fell and hurt your ankle, Dumba. The 55 is befitting of you, but
It doesn't wear 55 anymore. Smile.
that's why I said was befitting of you. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's just nothing. Like, we just ruined them. The Avs like didn't even want to be mentioned in the same breath.
No.
As the fucking shithole Mild.
Yeah, I mean that's a rivalry, going back to 2014, right? The Wild were the beneficiary of a no call on a dirty play by a dirty player who ended up getting expelled from the league for being dirty. And since then, there's been lots of hatred between the two.
Wait, did Matt Cook get no called for that?
No, there was no penalty on that play. That's why everybody's upset about it.
I mean, that wouldn't be the only reason because it was bullshit. But
it was bullshit. But that people say that kind of momentum is what made it so that they lost that game 7.
Well, the Wild still play that way, sucker punching people and shit all the time. Well, the Avs have never done that, Smile. Especially not our little angel, Nazem the Drim.
Or JT Comfer. Smile.
Dude, fucking that guy got so pissed at Comfer at the end of this game. So ZT, we didn't actually mention this to you. Some guy was pissed at Comfer and kept cross-checking him on a face-off and talking shit and screaming at the bench while they was in the face-off circle. And eventually the refs were just like Comfer wouldn't fight him. He kept trying to fight Comfer. And eventually the refs were like, oh, nope, game misconduct, you're out.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And Comfrey just has those dead eyes and was sitting there like just not reacting to getting cross-checked, and the refs were like, come on, dude.
So I mean, yeah, it's weird because even though the games kind of played out differently, they were in some ways kind of carbon copies of one another. The first
I felt like they were largely the same.
Yeah, the first line activated, and they proved that they are one of the best lines in the league.
My God, dude. that that game on Thursday, forget what it was. I think was it McKinnon did I think it was McKinnon passed it to Mikko, right? And I just is that what it was?
Are you talking about the saucer pass, like over, like through
Yes.
the neutral?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so if you're at home and you want to look up some of the prettiest goals that you will ever see, look up the both of the Mikko Rantanen goals. Like absolutely insane.
Well,
So
Mikko had 3 in the series.
so the first game,
Oh, okay,
the
yeah.
first 2 Mikko Rantanen goals. So on that first one, Sam Girard is in his own zone, his own defensive zone. He just Hail Marys a pass right to Nathan MacKinnon. Nathan MacKinnon skates it into the zone. Everybody's scared because it is Nathan MacKinnon, so they give him space. He passes it off to Girard, who gives it to Mikko, who just puts his stick down and it just deflects into the net perfectly.
And doesn't put his stick down in a normal way. His hands are like halfway down the shaft, like
Yeah, he angles his
giving it the
sticks.
full attention. Like,
Yeah, he angles it in such a way that the only place that puck can go is in the net. And so like that play is an encapsulation of just pure skill, right? From Sam Girard being able to just Hail Mary a pass, because that is not easy to do. Hard work on Nathan MacKinnon's end, just giving himself space, making a smart play. Good vision by Girard to see that Rantanen is in the perfect spot to make a play, to score a goal, and then Rantanen being creative and, just good at what he does. He didn't need to make it complicated. He just put himself in a spot and it just rolled in off his stick. And it's insane.
Yeah. So I forgot that Gerard was part of that play, but in any case, that shit when it happened, I was just like that was holy shit.
Yeah.
Like I had never seen something that clean. I was like, damn, dude.
Yeah, they made them look stupid.
okay. So something inherent to hockey that you guys didn't see a lot of is puck luck. And this isn't necessarily involved in that goal because that was pure skill. But I was just thinking about like that Landy goal last time, the Landy goal this time. There was a couple other goals last time that were just like the weirdest bounces that the Avs took advantage of and got goals on. You know, like last game, I think some guy took a dive and it bounced off, and Landy got it off of him and just put it in the net because he was right next to the goalie, like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
The Avs were getting none of that. The Avs were last in the league for puck luck, and like, so not only are they scoring those sick goals, they're scoring all the shitty fucking garbage goals too that they weren't getting before. So it's just this amalgamation of like, oh, the puck, it's going in, boys.
Yeah. A lot of talk earlier on in the season is just that their process was right. The puck wasn't going in. And eventually it would just the ship would right itself, right?
It overcorrected maybe, but
well, I mean, I'm not going to complain against
no, I'm not either.
The teams that we've been overcorrecting on.
Well, the Wild they were number 2 in puck luck. We were 30th. The stat is PDO. It's basically puck luck. We don't need to get into that, but
no.
The idea is that eventually it's going to right? It's going to regulate. And I think the Wild showed that they were due for that.
Yeah. So really quickly, because I did mention it, that second Mikko Rantanen goal in that game, I think I like this one more than the Girard one, although it is pretty close.
I mean, it's impossible to not like this one, in my opinion.
So it's very subtle, right? But I feel like this is just a pure display of Mikko Rantanen's skill. Because once again, Avs find themselves in a position where there's a Hail Mary coming in, right? They want to try to get some pressure in the offensive zone, so they just kind of launch the puck in. It's not going in a place where if it comes down, an Avalanche player is going to get it. Like the Wild have the best opportunity to like catch it. So Mikko Rantanen swats it out of the air and down in front of him so that he can play the puck. It's like wobbling on him a little bit, so he has to like settle it down just a little bit so that like it doesn't do weird things and bounce off of his stick. And then he launches a backhand at 1,000,000,000 miles per hour, top shelf. Goalie has no chance on it.
I mean,
without
and
looking at the net.
Mikko doesn't even he doesn't even hide what he's trying to do. You know, a backhand's coming as soon as he gets the puck. Like,
Yeah, his hands say backhand, but he doesn't look at the net once.
Well, and I have to say, I think that Mikko is underrated in general, but backhands are fucking hard.
Yeah.
To get accurate and lifted and powerful, because your stick is curved the other way to shoot it on the forehand.
Yeah.
So you're actively fighting against a bad curve on the backhand when you're shooting.
Yes.
So usually you toss a backhand and it goes like into somebody's chest, right? Mikko fucking top corns it.
Yeah. He's proven that he is very accurate with his backhand, and he's very
the
strong.
best backhand in the league, maybe? Like,
yeah, well, so like you broke down why it is hard to score on a backhand, and thank you for that, because I think that that's really vital information for people to know exactly like why this is so impressive. And like in addition to it being hard to control where the puck is going to go, it's kind of like an unnatural movement, like something you're not really used to doing a whole lot unless you really practice
you have to
it.
move your arms weird.
So it's not just controlling it, but getting the power on it too. And he just like he launches those backhands exactly where he wants them to be.
So let me break this down a little bit for the sake of the boys.
Yeah.
When you're shooting the puck, sticks are flexible, right? So you have the benefit of the curving to cup the puck. You use the flex of the stick to fling the puck off of the ice, and that is how you get air and power. So you're kind of, you use the curve of the puck to aim, of the stick to aim, but you're pushing with your bottom hand on the stick to bend it, to fling the stick to get the power on the puck, right? So like you'll see highlights of like Cale Makar as he's shooting the puck, even in that video we watched before the podcast. And when he's taking a shot, his stick is in a fucking like C shape. It's bent so far. And that's how he gets so much power. On the backhand, you have none of that. So getting power on that is pure fucking arm strength, because you're not bending your stick to fling it. You're just using your fucking arms to toss that bitch. And that's insane. Like it's hard to really accurately explain why that is so impressive if you don't like know the mechanics of it, but like holy shit, Mikko Rantanen is so tight.
So what you're saying is Mikko is as strong as a moose?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
That
he's
checks.
good at creating space for himself, and when he does, he lets loose on the puck.
So what you're saying is the moose is loose?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Just to illustrate, this is a picture of like mid shot. So, they're really going in hard on those motherfuckers. Right? Like that's a forehand normal shot. So yeah, that's how they get like those 90-mile-an-hour fucking shots, right? And Mikko just got a massively hard, accurate, high shot just with his arm strength in an unnatural movement. It is very impressive.
Yeah. He's ridiculously good.
Something, damn, he's good.
Yes. Mikko's my dad.
Does he have joint custody with you and over you with Matty Hustle, or?
I have 21 dads.
Yeah.
That seems kind of Sweet Home Alabama with how much he gets you pregnant whenever he plays, dude.
Like I said, dude, white pants. No. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just felt like that was a good opportunity to be like, this is why that shit was more impressive than it looks at an eye test.
Yeah, because honestly, with the build-up on that first goal being just a complete team effort, I can see how mentally you would be drawn to that first one over that second one, because without like really looking at the mechanics of what exactly happened, it's just a guy who gives himself space, shoots and scores, right? But I mean, when you have the added context of like, this is how he had to make that shot and what he had to do to score, I think it's just insanely impressive to
Yeah.
look at that second goal.
Oh, definitely.
And that picture, you see the guy lifting his leg, right? Like there's a lot of weight transfer and using that like to get leverage on the stick. And he like there's none of that for Mikko's thing. Like he just full on like
He just shovels it in like
pure
backhandedly.
ripped arm strength from the circles, like strong finish monster, dude. Fuck.
Yeah, he is Finnish.
That was where I was going. I'm happy you got there. Do you want me to post a picture for you to like better understand that?
Where is Finland?
Finland is not in America
Is
or
it in
Africa.
the ocean somewhere?
Damn, he's good.
Finland is Atlantis.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
Oh no. It's underwater?
Yeah, that shit's tight. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
It's underwater. No wonder it's called Finland.
Maybe that's why Liney's playing like such shit. He's worried about his home country.
Uh-huh. Poor Liney.
He got benched again. I mean,
Did he?
play better.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think Torts is on his way out. I think his message is lost. I think he'll go somewhere else and be successful, but you know, it's not working there. Jack Roslovic came down to earth. This is not a Columbus podcast. These guys have never even watched a Columbus game, but
What is the name of the
Goodness.
team in Columbus, boys?
that's a good one.
Columbus. Oh, fucking.
The Columbus Blue something. Andy, oh my god. This guy. Our producer's helping them cheat, dude. Slipping them the answers. They fucking paid him on PayPal.
He needs to, they need to use their phone a friend option for outside help.
I said the Columbus Blue something. Does that not get you there?
Nope.
The
You
Blue
underestimate the
Jackets.
stupid. What?
Look, dog. I know the Honda West Division. All right?
Columbus Blue
Name two.
Jackets.
Yeah, the Blue Jackets.
Name
And
two.
then the reverse retro switched their jersey color to red, making them the Red Jackets, which was them condoning the Confederacy smile.
They fire a cannon every time they score a goal.
Yep.
You said name two?
Yeah, name two teams that are not in the Honda West division.
The Blue Jackets and the Hurricanes.
Oh shit.
Oh, damn. He's
Okay.
learning.
You name another two, Dylan, that aren't those two.
Look.
I think you can get there. You have plenty
I
of
think you
material.
can get there.
I don't even know where the Honda West division is in order to even begin to guess.
Well, the
All I
Honda
would-
West division is all the teams we've been playing. So name a team we haven't played. Two though.
I honestly could not even.
Wrong. We were looking for the New Yorkers and the Philly cheesesteaks.
I would never have gotten there.
Damn American Hockey League.
Delicious.
Can't believe my sweet boy Gritty didn't get you to the Flyers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for real. You're the biggest Gritty fan on this podcast, and you didn't think Flyers?
I never said I was a smart man.
It's okay. I didn't say you were either.
He doesn't perform well under pressure. It's all right.
I'll name two for you: the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Washington Capitals.
Thank you for informing us of these names that we have no context for.
I think we need to start getting you to watch hockey outside of the Honda West. We need to give you a taste for the true hell that is Canada right now.
Go
Basically-
ask Hail Satan.
Yes.
I only. This is all I care about.
Basically, every game in Canada is like a 9-8 fucking barn burner because nobody plays defense and their goaltending all sucks up there.
Yeah, it's really absurd.
So a bunch of players are overperforming and getting nominations for like awards and shit, whereas we have to play like defensive powerhouses and fucking all of our players can't score as much because, you know, even the shitty teams here know how to do something like defensively. So it's very annoying. Everyone's like, Connor McDavid's breaking all these records that he gets to play Ottawa 8 times for. Shit like that. And I'm like, all right. Very cool.
So yeah, that second Minnesota game, the Wild decided that they didn't really like the fact that they got their asses kicked the game before. Came
And
out,
got kicked harder.
Yep, came out, tried to play strongly, looked good there for a little bit, and then just got their asses kicked again.
So the Wild got really mad.
Yeah.
And then we just got angry at them for getting mad. And we won.
We looked down upon them and said, pathetic.
Baka.
Fuck. So
Sorry,
it was interesting watching this game and trying to see what it is that Minnesota would do. Because the game you play against a team that kicked your ass the last time you played, especially if it was the last game, I think says a lot about where your team is, right?
Well, and they came back and kicked Vegas' ass. They did it to the Kings, too. They got dumpstered and came back and responded. So a lot of Wild fans were like, oh, next game will be fine. We aren't good at this.
Yeah.
Narrator said they weren't fine.
No. And listening to some of the post-game stuff, I think it will be interesting to see where the Wild go from here. Because hearing it from their own mouths, they said that they thought that they were in a position to really be a leader in this league, and the Avs showed them that they're not where they think they are. So whether they regroup and try to become that team, or whether they kind of get in their own heads about a 2-game series like this, will be interesting to see.
They're professionals. Like, they're professional hockey players. I think they're also riding the hype of like a new, young, exciting player.
Who is 23, by the way, not 26, like you were trying to tell me last time.
I wasn't.
Yeah, you were. I
Nope.
have receipts.
Nope.
You're like, he's like 26, he's ancient. No, he's 23. He's still pretty young.
Nope.
Welcome to Jake Gaslights Us, a hockey podcast.
There's no
That's been
recording
the
to
name
prove
of
it.
it the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that he was injured and didn't play either of these games.
That's not what happened.
Could have fucking fooled me.
Yeah. He looked scary a little bit during that first game. He had some opportunities. They got shut down, and then he just vanished.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what are you going to do, man? Colorado is hard, and you don't really have a team behind you. I think maybe that he could come down to earth too, though.
Yeah, very possible.
We'll see. It sucks because I like him. He has a very radiant and infectious smile and seems like a really good dude in interviews and is good at hockey. And he plays for the worst team in the league, who are all a bunch of trash cans, and I hate them. And I'd rather not hate him. So if he could just stoop to their mediocrity so I don't have to feel bad about liking him, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting because he does seem like a pretty high-quality character guy, high-skill guy.
He got off the fucking plane, and the first thing he said was, "Oh, when do I get to meet my teammates?"
Yeah, I mean,
that guy's tight. I love him. It sucks.
That guy is going to be a captain. for that
Yeah.
team. I guarantee it. He will be, if Minnesota can nail him down to some long-term contracts, he's going to be team captain there for a decade. And
Yep.
it'll suck. And the Wild will probably be pretty good at some point with a good room. They'll be a scary team, and I'm going to hate every second of it.
I really hope they just suck for a long time still and he gets over it and just wants to go to like the Rangers or something.
You,
Naren style.
the Rangers,
I hate the Rangers, but I hate the Wild more.
fair.
He can do what Panarin did and just like be mediocre in New York. Not saying Panarin's been mediocre, but New York sure has.
But yeah, Kaprizov has been very good. But not against the Avalanche.
No,
Well,
These
I
last
mean,
few
you know,
games.
yeah, I was gonna say I didn't notice him these games. I'm sure as fuck noticed of the other games he played against us.
Yeah. So, I mean, good luck, Minnesota. You guys look like you're going to be in a good.
No, hold up.
Hold on.
Not good. Not
You-
good luck, Minnesota.
Hold on.
Bad
You guys
luck.
look like you are going to be in good shape. But also eat shit. I hate you.
Yeah, I hope they're not. in
Fuck
good
the
shape.
Mild.
Rest in peace in hell. Be mediocre forever. Eat shit. The Wild.
Exactly.
We're not media members. This is a fan podcast. I can say whatever the fuck I want. No impartial fucking media shit here.
I do think that the league is probably in a better off spot when a market like Minnesota has some sort of success. Not that I think that like people in Minnesota will stop watching hockey just because like their team is bad. It's just kind of the culture in that area. I do hate the pretentiousness a lot.
I have a good idea. I have a great idea. The league forces Minnesota to send Kaprizov to Buffalo to try and make that extremely
Oh,
strong market stronger.
Oh god.
There we go. Perfect. That's how you make Buffalo good, right? It's almost as good as adding a piece like Taylor Hall.
Make the Sabres great
foolproof.
again. Ugh.
Did you see that Risto quote I quote? Ooh.
Yeah.
Risto quote I posted.
Yeah. Where Ristolainen was like, it's probably the players, but you can't fire the players.
Yeah, he's like, it's not really a coach or a management issue. It's a player issue. I don't know how big of a fuck you. Like, that's a massive. That is just undeniably the biggest, like, I'm calling my teammates out shit I've ever seen in this sport. It's awful.
Well, I don't know if it's like calling the team out or if it's just the typical hockey player thing. Because anytime a coach gets fired or anytime there's like some sort of management change, the players do try to shift blame on themselves. So I could also see it being one of those situations.
I don't, especially with the context of things he's said before.
Okay. I don't know enough about Rasmus Ristolainen to make that call, I guess.
I know enough about him to feel really bad for him.
Yeah.
Remember that Ryan O'Reilly quote when he was in Buffalo that was like, I basically lost my love for the game?
Oh, God, yeah.
That's every Ristolainen interview, pretty much.
Oh, God.
Yeah. He's
So
like
then-
Line A in that he just says whatever the fuck he wants.
So then if he... Because I think that the problem has to extend beyond just those players, right? We're a Buffalo Sabres fan cast now. We're good. We're going to roll with this. The consistency in which they acquire good players who then decide that they hate the game and play like shit is so high that I feel like the problem has to be something outside of the players, right?
I don't. There's a ton of players that have been there forever for years, including their captain. I think it could be a mixture, but I think that a lot of the mainstay superstars like are probably a problem as well. It's like the Calgary problem, right? Like maybe like Goudreau and Monahan and stuff just aren't like getting it done. Giordano.
So like, I don't know. So do you think that it's like player leadership issues? Because I think that like obviously Jack Eichel is not doing good this year, but he has proven in past years that despite his team being bad, he can put up the numbers, right, and be a good like player on the ice. So do
It has
you
been
think...
said he's had attitude issues.
Okay.
it has been said a lot of people there are like toxic. The Cam Atkinson, Kyle Okposo. It's not Atkinson. It's Casey Middlestat. Sorry, I don't know why I think of them as the same.
That is a weird one.
Yeah, like Casey Middlestat, Kyle Okposo. Dahlin is randomly just one of the worst defensemen in the league. Like,
after being drafted first overall and very highly touted, for those who don't know.
yeah. So, I mean, like, it's probably a management issue, but also, you know, the same people who own, like, you know, okay, so they've had different managers and coaches, right? So that's out. The only consistent are the players and the owners. And the Buffalo Bills are also owned by the same owners, and that team is thriving. So, I mean, that doesn't inherently mean, like, oh, that means they're fine. But I feel like you're going to switch players before you switch owners. It goes like coach, GM, players, owners is the,
yeah,
you know, order of replaceability.
Yeah.
In terms of superstars for players, right? Obviously, you ship a fourth liner anywhere, but you're definitely not going to get $9 million one goal Jeff Skinner anywhere.
That being said, fire Eugene Melnyk. Smile.
Ottawa has a bright future.
And that seems like it's by accident rather than by design.
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah?
I think they fucking mega blew up everything they had, got some solid veteran presence, and relied entirely on draft picks only playing their kids trial by fire. And I think you have some strong character guys in there like Kachuk and Stutzel. And Shabbat was like their oldest player, other than like a Bobby Ryan I think they had for a little bit before they traded him. So yep. I think that they knew what they were doing.
Okay.
I'd be interesting to I don't know what they're gonna do when the players deserve the money that they've earned by playing fine. I mean, they're still bottom of the league, right? But like those players are obviously good. Stutzel's awesome. Devin, what do you think about Tim Stützle?
Don't know.
Can't even be creative about it, bro. Damn.
Nope.
Gotta bullshit this one.
Nope.
Gotta be like, yeah, every time Stützle steps on the ice, someone fucking scores. Kid's gonna score 50 next year. Clap bombs, fuck moms, wheel snipe Selly. He's fucking awesome.
Wheel snipe Kelly, thank you.
Wheel snipe Kelly.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's not by accident. I think is the main point there. I think they're fine.
All right. Fire him anyways. He stole a person's kidney.
Well, I mean, the guy gave it to him and then wanted it back because Melnick was a piece of shit.
He's like, I gave him a kidney and regretted that decision. Or was it a liver? Piece of his liver?
It was a kidney.
Okay.
It was literally the guy donated the kidney to save Melnick's life. Melnick was going to die, so a fan donated it to him. And then a couple weeks later, Melnick was like, yeah, if you guys don't show up to games, I might just move the team.
Yeah, he was like, I'm taking my team and leaving. It was really the top 10 anime betrayals of, like, hockey.
That seems very fucked.
Yeah, I don't like that guy. Whether he intended to build a good team or not,
I mean, he didn't intend to do anything. He's the owner.
That dude rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. GM did, though.
Fair.
My point being is the GM did a good job, and then it could either fall apart or thrive, depending on if the owner feels like paying the players.
Yeah. Which, there were reports a couple of years ago that he might not be able to. Like, he might just be, like, faking the amount of money he has or something weird like that. Like, that shit was weird. I'm sure they would have done something by now if that were the case, though.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the only thing that would force their hand. If anything Arizona didn't get them to force their hand, then I don't think that. I think it's only money that would get them to actually like make a move on a team.
Yeah.
And exert any will on them.
Yeah. So moving on, we already touched on the don't bully Hunter Miska thing, so we're not going to rehash that here. But let's talk about JoJo. Or is it Yo-Yo?
It's JoJo.
Jonas Johansson. The Avs decided that if Hunter Miska wasn't going to be able to be that guy in the moment, that they needed to make a trade. So
it is not Jonas or Johansson.
It is. I've heard it.
No,
I'm pretty sure it's Jonas Johansson.
no, you're being a bigot.
I'm pretty sure I've heard it said Jonas Johansson by multiple people.
What is his
Yeah.
stand?
He stands on his head.
Just like you've heard that Kings player's name is Wah from multiple people, right?
No, that
That
was
was a
the
good
Vegas
defense.
player. The Kings player is actually Roy.
Yeah, he's a cold-blooded American boy, Jonas Johansson. Smiley.
Okay. Well, so anyways, they picked him up for a sixth round pick, which is basically nothing.
Yeah, essentially for the two homies, the Buffalo talk was relevant because it was from Buffalo that we got this goalie.
That was the segue we were going for.
It was a completely intentional. But he's the only goalie in the league with worse stats than Hunter Miska, so.
Oh,
I see.
so he really doesn't have a stand, huh?
The thought is that one of a couple of the best players in the sport combined for 3 goals there. So maybe a goaltender wouldn't be doing so hot either, and we can see if in a team that actually like is a team he might do something.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
he's massive. He's like 11'10", ridiculously tall. His goaltending coach or tutor or whoever he is said that he is a person who gets himself in position very well and is able to use his body and make athletic moves, which is pretty promising. Hopefully, the defense playing in front of him being better will give him a opportunity to make those kind of saves.
Okay.
And the thought is that even though he is also a goalie who has been really good in the AHL, he is a person who is more ready for the NHL level of action than
He was
Miska.
AHL Player of the Year last year.
Whoa.
Miska was a big reason for the Avs for the Eagles' success last year, and that didn't really translate to the NHL. So maybe it's the same case with this guy.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
But for a late round pick in a round that the Avs are notoriously bad at getting anything from, fuck it.
Yeah.
Might as well make the fucking take your shot.
They might as well have traded him for a Kit Kat bar. Like,
yeah, as a 6th rounder.
Huh.
I don't know. I mean, the Avs have. I mean, almost every team has gotten something good from the 6th round at some point, but the Avs get it with such less frequency.
I need some explanation as to what this means.
So the NHL draft happens every year. Basically, there's a lottery to see who picks the first 3. I'm not sure when they're going to change that because they proposed making it only the first 2, right? You only can win the lottery if you didn't make the playoffs. Your odds go up depending on how bad you were.
Yeah, I mean, every pick 1 through 16 is lotteried, right?
No, they only see who picks
people
first,
were pissed
second, and
about the
third.
Flyers. People were pissed about the Flyers moving up 12 picks. Or sorry, not the Flyers. I think the Devils.
Yeah, but
Somebody
that's
moved up
because
12 a couple years
that's
ago.
because they did the top 3. They were within
Gotcha.
the top 3. They were close to making the playoffs, and then they won the lottery to pick within the top 3. So that's why people were mad.
Gotcha. But well, I'm actually just trying to work this out. I'm not trying to be contradictory to
Yeah, no, you're good.
But I mean, they do balls for like 1 through 16 picks.
No, they don't. They do the 3, and then from then it's where you were in the standings, which is why when the Avalanche were the worst team ever, the least that they could have possibly picked was 4th, because only 3 teams could have been called to win the lottery, and then they would have been 4th in the standings. Sorry, the worst in the standings, so they would have been able to pick 4th. So that's why we got Cale Makar. And that's why Detroit was mad that they were going to pick 4th, which is the least that they could have possibly gone, because they were the worst team last year, and 3 people won the lottery and they did not. I sense some Googling happening over on your end.
It is Googling.
Okay. So anyways, while he Googles the specifics of what happens in a draft. Basically, they just pick players who are eligible for the draft. Obviously, if
Okay.
you're the first pick, you are going to get the best player or who you believe will be the best player, right?
Yep.
There are 31 teams.
Mm-hmm.
So that first round, there are 31 picks. And then from then on, it is just by how you did in the standings. So if you were the worst team in the league, you will get the first pick of the second round. So generally, your first 3 rounds of the draft are like pretty important. Your first is like the most important, obviously, because you're the most likely to get a quality player out of that round in the draft. Second and third, you're probably not going to get like all-star caliber players because by then most of them have already been snatched up. But you might be able to get some like good depth guys for you to be able to develop into like serviceable players in whatever position that you are in. And then basically fourth round on, you're just kind of gambling on players, right? You're trying to get players with kind of high ceilings, low floors, and seeing if you can kind of polish them up a bit and see if you can kind of get a gem. Or they could just end up being serviceable players like everybody else. They could be horrible and they maybe don't crack your lineup. So all in all, there are 7 rounds of this.
Okay.
So a 6th rounder obviously is the second lowest round that you can get. And by then, it is definitely like it's a crapshoot as to what you're going to get. You're kind of gambling on getting either a player you think will be decent or maybe be good, but has some sort of obvious flaw in their game. That means that they wouldn't be going in the higher rounds.
Okay.
Generally, teams are able to find sort of hidden gems that late. Every team kind of has a success story of a guy they found in the 5th or 6th round that nobody knew about who ended up being like a like all-star caliber player. That doesn't really
Or like
happen with the
Point.
Avs. Yeah, like Braden Point for the Tampa Bay Lightning is a really good example of that, right? The Avs haven't really done that with frequency, and it's definitely not a guarantee that this happens. So for the Avs, and especially since they are probably going to be very good, they're going to be high in the standings. So they are going to likely get a late 6th rounder, which decreases their odds by even more. So to them, it's just kind of free money for them to trade that pick away to another team who would be willing to take that chance to kind of look for their own gem.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I see what was happening. It's my bad for never more specifically looking into it. I see why I was confused and what made me confused, and I see the reality of it.
Yeah. It was a system that I found to be confusing the first couple of years we watched. But after like reading up on it, it's a pretty simple process.
I really just never paid attention to it. Honestly, that's on you, boy.
Yeah.
Weird. There was an ad on that fucking page for LA Kings Hot Ones crossover.
Very cool.
So if Kelly likes hot sauce,
you know she does.
There's some LA Kings Hot Ones merch.
Okay, listen, hold on. Do I need to get a jersey or a hat with this shit?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Oh my god. Dude, it's a custom Hot Ones jersey with the name Hot Ones on the back with a bottle of hot sauce. Why is this the worst thing I've ever seen in my life?
It's so dumb, bro.
Dude, the like least expensive package you can get is $50 for an LA Hot Ones hat and a bottle of fucking hot sauce. Very cool.
I mean, let's suss out the prices for each of those things. Does that actually seem off base to you?
Probably not, I guess, if it's like a $20 hot sauce and then like a $25 hat or something. Unless they want to go 30-10. I guess that.
Yeah, just about every hat I've ever purchased from the NHL is 30 to 35.
Yeah, makes sense.
And hot sauces were like 12 from the Hot One website when I ordered a bunch.
What if I told you I don't really buy NHL hats or hot sauce? My knowledge on the market is very low.
You do look terrible in hats, so I feel that.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So hopefully you're masters of the draft now. I don't know.
I'm gonna go back to this this LA Kings Hot Ones thing. Is that chicken dabbing?
Yes. The Last Dab. It is the Last Dab. Have you seen Hot Ones?
Yes. No, I know about the last dab. I don't recall the chicken dabbing though.
There has been chicken dabbing media surrounding the Last Dab at points. I don't know if it
Okay.
is the main on the fucking box logo, but it exists. You know, I
Okay.
kind of wish they went all the way with it and just put it on the front of the jerseys as the crest.
That would be pretty fucking sick.
Just really bastardize it because it already looks like shit. It was a shoulder patch though.
But yeah, so for the new guys, a common strategy for a team that is underperforming and doing bad is selling good players that people know are good, but probably will not be able to have any success on the team they are currently on, for young people that could probably be developed into better players and draft picks so that they can find prospects of their own.
Yeah, so the idea is they get the young players to develop into their leaders, and then they draft players to bring in while those younger players are growing and being more, given responsibility and forming the identity of the team.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the idea is that teams that are buying on good players are willing to kind of take that gamble and make that risk because they believe that they will perform well. Their draft picks are going to be lower, so the quality of player that they would be getting would be lower than they would like, and they are willing to trade that future pick away for success right now.
And it is also common, since they're selling all of their good players, to take on some bad contracts since they won't be having to worry about the salary cap and competing. So they can take on a more expensive player that is hindering a better team, so that better team can do a little more, fine finesse work in terms of getting players that can help them win like a cup. So the idea, a parallel for the Avs would be either Comfort or Graves are making a lot of money, and you would argue too much money for what they're doing. Comfort more so than Graves. So the idea would be that we would want, let's say, like a decent player from Ottawa. It's not true. They don't have one. They don't want to give us a player, but let's just say we would trade them JT Comfort and a pick or two for that player. So they would take on JT Comfort's too expensive contract. They would get a pick in return for it as well, and then we would also get a player from them that they can't utilize properly because they're not chasing a cup right now. So you could apply that to, say, we really need a backup goaltender. JoJo doesn't work. There's a lot of bad teams with good goaltenders, so we would maybe try to, make that happen by giving up a Graves or a Comfort and a more valuable asset like a pick.
Yeah. And so one of the interesting things is that even though they are sellers, the Sabres have lots of bad contracts on their own, including like people that they are paying because they bought out their contracts that no longer work for them, like coaches and shit. So their ability to be able to take on those kind of bad contracts may be hindered by that. So seeing how they will interact with the trade deadline will be interesting.
Just to give you an idea of one of their bad contracts, and the Avs were actually trying to sign this guy, but the Sabres offered him so much the Avs said fuck no.
Thank God.
They have a player who's making as much as Mikko Rantanen. Mikko Rantanen has 17 goals. This guy hasn't gotten one yet. As you might imagine, it's a $9 million contract. The salary cap is like $82 million. So it's like more than 10% of the cap just to buy a little bit. And the guy doesn't do shit. It is a really bad situation for them.
Yeah. So, I mean, aside from that, good news. The injuries on the Avalanche have lessened by quite a bit. We already mentioned that Bowen Byram and Kel McCarr came back. That was huge for them.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah, brother.
Kale is a sniper.
He really is, and he fucking hates the Wild and Post equally. JT Compher came back from injury as well.
And made that line look way worse than it did when fucking LOC was on it.
Yeah, it was. He's going to be an interesting guy to look at.
He is the Avs dead weight. Graves showed this game, aside from his inability to clear the puck 3 times, on a fucking penalty kill.
Yep.
He showed why we paid him the money we did and why we want him.
Yeah.
He's had a couple good games. Comfort hasn't done shit ever this season.
He's been agitating. There's a place in the sport for that. I don't think that it is something that the Avalanche need like a lot of.
I don't think it's like 3.5 million for 3 years. Fucking
no.
He's making 2.5, I think. Still.
Oh yeah. Well, and so the interesting part with Graves is that now that he is playing bottom pairing minutes because Byram and Makar are back, they can use him as the third guy on the right side. He's not playing those big minutes. He's not playing against the highest quality competition, right? And he is looking a lot more comfortable in that role than he was before.
Well, I think that's less of his issue. And this is taken from AJ, but when you look at his deployment last year when he succeeded, I think it bolsters that argument. But he played with Makar constantly all season against the top guys.
Yeah.
A shit ton of minutes and was good. Like potential steal of all time defenseman good. And so I think it's the consistency more than it is like the playing against good players or bad players. Though it is easier to play against bad players by a long shot.
Yeah. Okay. I think that that's reasonable. He hasn't shown it to me this year, right?
Yeah. I can agree with that.
I think that him being in this reduced role has helped him look a lot better over these last few games than he did earlier on in the season when we were tearing our hair out over some of the decisions he was making, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, good for him if he can kind of settle into that role. He might be overpaid for that position, but he's not going to be like an active detriment to the degree that he was when we were kind of thinking he was going to be the whipping boy, you know?
Yeah, at worst he's slightly overpaid, but is a killer defensive player and is fine.
Yeah.
You could do worse.
You could do way worse.
You could do Ryan Graves for the first 25 games of the season worse. Like,
yeah. So outside of the NHL, the NWHL is coming back starting
real
next
quick.
weekend.
Real quick. Sorry.
You're good.
AJ mentioned that they were looking to maybe trade Timmins before the fucking deadline.
I can see that.
At the end of that pod. So for the homies, that is a young player who they can build a franchise with, who just isn't getting opportunity on our team because he's getting outplayed.
Yeah.
But on a bad team, he would get a ton of opportunity and playtime.
Yeah.
And he is a very high-end prospect. He hasn't been playing great for us because of injury and opportunity, but the high-end skill is there.
Yes.
We just don't have a place for him necessarily. So, I mean, we could fetch something like actually impressively good for him.
Now that you brought me back.
Sorry,
no, you're good.
He said that and I was like, hold up.
I mean, I think that makes sense. They've got an embarrassment of riches on that blue line, so you trade away your access, right?
Timmins for Eichel, Buffalo retains half. They just pay $5 million for fucking 8 years. Ooh.
Do you know off the top of your head when the trade deadline is this year?
April 12th.
April 12th. Okay. So we got.
See, I'm not totally stupid, but
no, you're good. So we got about 3 weeks before the fireworks start. Lots of trades end up happening kind of the week leading up to the trade deadline, and then a whole hell of a lot the hours before it. So
yeah, I don't know how true that's going to be this year. I would say that, you know, unless the team gets a private jet for the player, they have to quarantine for a week.
Yeah.
And you know, I think there's just a lot of weirdness around all of that stuff, and people have weird cap situations. Most of the big dudes like Friedman are saying this is probably going to be a pretty pathetic trade deadline, but
All right. That was a pretty good callback to the NHL. So I mean, good talk. I appreciate it. But outside of the NHL, the National Women's Hockey League is starting up again. We didn't really get into it last week, but the NWHL had to shut down because they said they were playing in a bubble, but they weren't. They were more just suggestions, and
that's a
because
suggested bubble.
yeah, they weren't enforced rules. So COVID happened, and they were forced to shut down early. So they're coming back. It was unclear whether or not that would happen. They are starting Saturday, starting the playoffs.
A week from today?
Yeah, Saturday, week from today.
Okay. Trying to make sure it wasn't like they're playing right now while we're talking about a situation.
Oh no. This broadcast would just be a live reaction to the women's hockey game if that were the case. So yeah, they're playing their playoffs. Four teams qualified in their playoffs. For those that are interested, it is the Boston Pride going against the Toronto Six in the first round, and the Connecticut Whale, go Whale, going up against the Minnesota Whitecaps.
It's impossible to like anything from Minnesota, so go Whale. Go Whale anyway.
I'm not gonna lie, their jerseys are pretty sick. The Whitecaps.
You know what else is sick? Not being a team from Minnesota. Go Whale.
Fins up, boys.
Girls.
Oh. So yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. The Riveters had to exit from the regular season, as it were, early due to COVID concerns, but they were really rolling on all cylinders at the time. So it was kind of an unfortunate exit for them. And because of that, they weren't able to qualify. Honestly, I think that they should have played a win-in against the Boston Pride, the team that had the worst record going into these playoffs. I think that would have been a lot more interesting, and it would have given the Riveters a chance to compete in a tournament that they were performing really well in.
They got NBC again for this, right?
They did. So it'll be broadcasted on NBCSN.
Because I was worried. I feel like some of the explosiveness of the hype got really killed by the bubble bursting.
Yeah.
I feel like they really shot themselves in the foot there.
Yeah. Definitely should have enforced that bubble.
I hope it revs up again. I mean, I feel like they were pulling huge numbers. Everybody was talking about him.
Yeah.
They even had Barstool starting shit with them, so you knew they were doing good.
Yeah. Fuck Barstool.
I don't know. Fuck Barstool. It sucks. I really like Chiclets, but Barstool's trash.
Yep.
Emphasis on the stool and Barstool. Yeah, I don't know. I hope the hype's just not completely dead, because that sucked.
I hope not too.
I'd be lying if I said I was super invested, because of the my hype was then, and it's been some time. But I'm sure once I start watching it again, I'll be.
Well, so I think that the hype has been built again, because I think there has been kind of a spotlight in women's sports as far as some of the more popular sports outlets go. Before we recorded the podcast, actually, we were watching the Women's College Ice Hockey Championship between Wisconsin and Northeastern. Unfortunately, the Huskies were not able to win. I don't really have much of a horse in that race, something that Devin is very familiar with.
That's right.
But, I mean, how could you say no to Huskies?
You know what women's hockey needs? And this is not a hot take, as much as it sounds like I'm coming in with a hot take. The NWHPA, I don't remember what it's called, and the NWHL need to actually come together and form an actual league and get some consistency going. They've said they're open to it, but for the homies that don't know, those two leagues have just been like ripping each other apart and talking shit and like.
Hold on. Are you talking about the Canadian League and the American League?
No, there's two
Okay.
American like women's leagues that are fucking trying to like cannibalize each other.
Even now? Because I know it was a huge problem with the Canadian Women's League and the National Women's Hockey League competing against each other. But when the Canadian League folded, a lot of those players did come over. Not all of them, but.
Oh yeah, there's a big fragment in women's hockey. There was a chick that went on DNVR talking about it and like was talking about how there's this big split right now.
Okay. So even
and
now, there is
31
still that
Thoughts.
split. Okay.
Yeah, and 31 Thoughts has had like people from each side saying they're willing to come together and like form one cooperative thing.
Yeah.
But as it stands, there's like people who are like heavily angry on either sides being shitty. But they got there's new commissioners and stuff for the leagues involved that didn't have any of that conflict, so they're trying to like bridge that gap. But I mean, I think that gap needs to be bridged, and like I don't think you fight and then also try and make women's hockey like more mainstream, right? Like I feel like you're pulling yourselves in a lot of directions there. You need everyone to be pulling the same rope, you know?
Yeah.
Same rope, same direction at least.
Yeah, I think that would go a long way towards kind of just unifying the sport and making it so that everybody is pulling their resources together and just kind of giving everybody an opportunity to succeed.
Because I think the product is good and the skill is there. Obviously.
Yeah.
But
really
if you
is.
don't have, I mean, if you have to have a full-time job outside of hockey and like don't get a chance to play more than 6 games a year, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the leagues need to come together. There's a bunch of sponsorship money there that's obviously like available, right? There's a ton of people who are interested in supporting it.
Yeah.
I think now is the time to like leverage that and get these women playing constantly and like actually let it be a career for them instead of having to fucking go be an accountant and then take a cross check into the fucking boards and like lose their livelihood for hockey that they barely get paid for. You know what I mean? Like,
and then it's interesting because we've mentioned this before, but a common sort of path for women's hockey players is to play women's hockey growing up, high school, college, wherever you can, right? And then just kind of split your time between being a player and being a coach for another women's like young youth hockey team, trying to grow
like
the
a
sport that
kids
way.
team.
Which I think is like awesome, right? And if there's anybody that you want to kind of be in that position to help grow the next wave of players, it's those people, the people who have lived it and experienced it, right? So I think like that's awesome, but at the same time, like there needs to be a place for them to grow into. Like,
yeah, as of now, it's just kind of like this is what I'm doing. I'm sick. I'm really excited about all this insurance that I don't get, and you know what I mean. Like,
yeah,
this money I don't get, I can't dedicate all my time to it because I can't justify it. Like,
yeah,
I feel like you see flashes of it, but like the quality of hockey kind of suffers a little bit when they just like are forced to only play a couple games every year, like in intermittent fashion. It's a real bummer, and they deserve more.
Yeah. You see that the skill potential is there, but it's just that they haven't been able to put it into practice nearly as much as they should be able to, being professionals, being the best players at their sport, right? And I think that some of that was highlighted when the NHL during the All-Star game in St. Louis had Kendall Coyne Schofield. Is that who it was? Am I butchering that? Do fastest skater. And yeah, okay, that was correct. Yeah, so they had Kendall Coyne Schofield come out, who is a player on the American Olympic team, if I'm not mistaken. She's either American or Canadian, but she's very fucking good at what she does is the bottom line there, right?
Do your fucking research, bud. God.
It's just been so long. She was American. I was right. Okay.
Imagine coming in like not knowing about her. You didn't know about the draft. Like,
Oh, yeah.
fuck, bro.
Yeah, she was in her Team USA jersey. Okay. But yeah, she came out, she kicked ass in the speed competition. She's just as fast as the guys were, right? And yeah, it's a small sample size, all that kind of shit. But if people like her are given the opportunity to grow and thrive and be a hockey player, I think everybody benefits. They do, and we do, because we get lots of awesome fucking hockey to watch, right? So yeah, for anybody interested in watching women's hockey this weekend, you can catch it on NBCSN, or you can watch it on twitch.tv. Twitch is free for those who don't know. And yeah, it's just kind of an awesome experience. There's chat you can interact with. Typically,
A lot, mostly bigot free.
mostly
Pretty
bigot
positive
free.
chat from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Unless people get sniped right away if they say some dumb shit. I was watching those games when that was originally happening, like ready for that to be a hive of scum and villainy, but it was pretty pleasant at least.
Yeah. So it's twitch.tv and it's at NWHL is their channel. No, it's not even at. Fuck, I'm so used to Twitter. So NWHL is their channel, twitch.tv/NWHL. There's a chat room there. If you don't know a whole lot about hockey, you could always ask questions, and generally I've seen that the chat room in their Twitch stream is actually pretty helpful. You will be able to get answers real time. I think that might be a really nice opportunity for people who don't really know the game but are interested in learning. And you watching them on their channel supports them. They get ad revenue from you watching, and it's really just kind of a win-win.
They don't get ad revenue from me.
Okay. So finally, I see that you added a late entry to our show notes here, Mr. NBA. What's new in the NBA?
Okay, so that's what they call me, Mr. NBA.
Uh-huh.
You can find me on Twitch at Mr. NBA. I'm a basketball fanatic. Basketball sucks. We watched the Lakers, who are a team from LA, land of lakes, LA, versus the Golden State Warriors. And the amount of fucking dives and like baby ass bullshit hits that I saw of people like falling over and like writhing on the ground like they just got shot in the fucking gonads with a 22. Like, holy shit, bro. That was infuriating to watch. Basketball's tight. It's fun to watch, but like there's a culture problem of like players trying to buy fouls in there that is just like infuriating to watch. It makes me so mad.
Yeah. And then
I'm not even like, it's not even like a be tough like hockey players, pussies. That's more just like, dude, have some fucking integrity.
Yeah.
Holy shit. LeBron, your arm is the size of my stomach and I'm a fat man. Like, you're huge, you're ripped, bro. You're okay. Somebody touches the back of your fucking, I don't know, something on the back of your body and fall over like you got kicked in the ass. Like, annoying.
Yeah.
Hate it. It makes superstars less likable.
That reminds me of when the Governor, okay? Of when the Governor got drop kicked and he was just like standing there and like, you know, when you're built, man, you can take hits.
Yeah, who's that? Was that guy Harrell?
I don't recall his name.
I'm gonna say Scott Harrell. That's not his name, but it's
No.
close enough. He has long hair and a ponytail for the Lakers. Some dude like came down after shooting and his elbow clipped him in the jaw and the guy fucking hit the deck. Like he just took a fucking special beam cannon into the face. Like it was awful.
Yeah.
Made me
And
so
then
mad.
They called the other guy on the foul for bringing his elbow back up, but upon review, bringing his arm back up made no contact with that dude's face at all. People
Yep.
were like, dude, he could have broken his fucking jaw there.
Yeah, everyone was. I went to like a basketball discussion on like Reddit and shit, and they were like, "Man, that was one of those brutal hits I've seen someone take all year. He could have broken his jaw." And I was just sitting there like, Austin Watson took a puck to the throat and got up and kept playing. But that's fine. I mean, fuck Austin Watson, but like still, that was just the clip that was there the same night where I was like, okay, there's a clear distinction here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like if they don't want to get hurt, that's fine. It's not my prerogative to like have them be tough, but it kills the flow and makes it hard to be like super like rooting for a guy who's just like gonna throw himself around to try and buy a call. It happens in the NHL too, and it pisses me off. Like,
yeah,
I like that shit, man.
I just think that the difference in the NHL is that I feel like guys will get a lot more shit from their teammates for doing stuff like that than they would in like soccer or basketball or like lots of other sports.
Well, it's annoying because they'll fucking dive and then the refs will call it a foul and then they'll be like, hell yeah, and high five their teammates and shit. And it's like, oh, okay. It's fucking annoying. But I mean, otherwise, basketball's fun. I don't know. It's a cool sport. I feel like there's less finesse involved on a moment to moment basis. Watching other sports has made me realize just how insane hockey actually is. And I already realized how insane it was, but I don't know. It's cool. I'll keep watching.
Yeah.
Just stop diving. Fucking Jonathan Harrell.
That's definitely his name.
Stephen Harrell. Steve Harrell, the famous Office actor who is also a basketball player.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm sitting here like that's definitely his name, but I couldn't tell you his fucking name. I'm not a Lakers fan.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that there's more personality in the NBA than NHL, but like sometimes it manifests in the wrong ways.
Yeah.
Like, I like people talking shit. I like people being toxic and like being excited for doing something, but I don't know. Play the goddamn game.
Yeah. And don't fucking bully them if they do some dumb shit. Fucking internet.
Yeah, unless they're on the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, famous basketball team, the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah.
They might as well have been with the way that they were playing hockey.
Yeah, they played like they're a basketball team trying to play hockey for the first time. Fuck.
Alrighty. Does anybody else have any pressing news they would like to add before we end this one?
Well, I decided that I'm gonna try and apply to be the Minnesota Wild beat writer for The Athletic.
Okay.
Because their current one decided to spend his time talking about how a single shot on goal shouldn't count and how it's the reason the Wild lost the game. So I figure if he can have a fucking job, I might as well go for it.
To be fair to Mike Russo, I don't think that that's what he was getting at. I think he was just being a pedantic asshole against the team he doesn't like.
They took the shot off. It worked for him.
Did they actually take that shot off?
They did, like
That's
the day after.
Really funny.
Well, they should take the fucking Wild shots off today until they get to 29, so we can keep our no 30 shots against streak.
Yeah, that'd be pretty pog. All right. Anybody else? Take that as a no. All right. So, if you want to contact us, we are on Twitter. The show's Twitter is @GritHockeyCast, where you will find me reacting to every goal that happens, basically.
And retweeting things that I mean, posting things that I say as if it was his own content all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And using my screenshots that I post to Discord too.
I feel like I don't do that very often, but I do that.
You did it today. It's okay. I'm cool with being a content engine.
Yeah, that's fine. Although I will say, if the thing that I posted today is what I think it is, that wasn't your content. That was Altitude's.
Yeah, but I posted the picture to Discord, so I made this. I saw the exact same mouse placement and the fucking press X to close full screen icon still there, and I was like, that motherfucker. That shit was tight.
Very cool.
I made this.
Yeah. And if you want to follow me personally, I am at Kumodere. That is Kumodere. Not very active there, gotta say. Probably avoid that one for now. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to live your fucking life. You should definitely avoid Jake's, though, who is
Anime as leaders. Spelled anime, a difficult Japanese word, but I'm sure you could figure it out. As and leaders.
actually being serious. You have a pretty good social media presence these days, I must say.
I like to
Definitely
think I'm fun.
a lot less fighting with random people on the internet and more making fun of the Minnesota Wild. Good changes. Please continue that.
No, fight with more people.
A lot. Okay, so it's a lot less fighting with people about politics, a lot more fighting with people about hockey.
One is arguably more important than the other. We won't let you decide what that is.
It's the hockey.
It's hockey.
All right. So until next time, we will see you guys later.
Have a good one.
Bye.